Today is yet another day where almost nothing is happening in the markets, or so it would seem, as there is crazy amounts of speculation within the XRP community that XRP is getting some sort of listing on Robinhood. Take a look at this. Crypto Assets Guy said, if the rumors are true and Robinhood lists XRP by the end of the year, then prepare for a massive uptrend. Robinhood is known for being very tedious when selecting which crypto to list. So if they're getting ready to list XRP, they must know something. As I've been saying, Q4 2023 will melt a lot of faces. To which I'd like to state, it wouldn't be strange anymore for Robinhood to list XRP now. Matter of fact, I'd say almost any major platform should actually have XRP on there because it's one of the first, if not the only one, but a properly regulated cryptos in the US and in a lot of other places around the world. It's also properly regulated. So it makes you think, if they've gone through this rigorous lawsuit and now the SEC is changing all their complaints, changing basically what they wanted to go for with their appeal, to not state that XRP itself is a security, but only how Ripple sold it, then why should not every platform have it on there already? I mean, what is a counterpoint to it? And somebody else pointed out that Robinhood has a lot of the degenerate, let's call it, traders on there. Not the actual people that are going to buy for the long term, but people that are buying because of a TikTok or something. The way I see it is we don't need it, but I just don't understand why they haven't listed XRP yet. But as I say about this and a lot of other things, I'd say it's just a matter of time. Anyway, right now in the crypto community, a lot of people are talking about Coinbase investing in Xrpl, the issuer behind USDC. Apparently they were partners before, but not officially investors, and that has now changed. However, it's also being said by John Dean, all right? Coinbase may have acquired Ripple, or at least part of it too, because they can't fully buy the thing, you understand? Because, I mean, Coinbase is worth a lot at like their $18 billion, but I believe Ripple is worth a good couple of billion too. At some point, I believe they were 10 billion. That wouldn't really be worth it for Coinbase. Nor do I think these guys would sell, but that's a story for a different day. They might have bought in though, all right? We can actually take a good look at the majority of the stakeholders of Ripple, but apparently John Dean blamed the US SEC lawsuit for the slowdown in progress of Ripple XRP projects over the last 3 years. And to that, I have something to say, but first, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on this video if you haven't done so already. Let's try to at least get to 500 likes. Everybody, if you're still excited about crypto, I know prices are down. I know you're not at the ultimate gains that you wanted to see, but make sure you go ahead and press that like button anyway, because the only way we're going to get through this is together. It's not fully true. I mean, at the end of the day, with decentralized technology, you do need kind of everybody, but I guess you don't fully need me, but make sure you go ahead and press that like button anyway, and let's move on. John Dean is basically saying, what if this whole lawsuit against XRP didn't come, right? What could have happened regarding adoption of XRP during the last 3 years if the lawsuit was never filed? Would Coinbase today be announcing it acquired a stake in Ripple instead of Xrpl? And that basically a lot of what's happened for XRP/Ripple and the projects on top and around, if not for the lawsuit, the company would be in such a better position because they were so ahead of the game in the last couple of years, did shut them down a lot, especially over in the US. However, on the opposite side, I sometimes think, and again, we'll talk about that in a second, that we shouldn't focus too much on Ripple, more so on XRP and the XRP ledger. But let's first just take a little look. Here's Ripple and some of the angel and venture capital investors that went in. I've said it in the past, right, that they've got Google, they've got a lot of the behemoths that you want to see. I didn't even know they got my friends, Pantera Capital in there, and some of the biggest, absolute biggest names are in here too. I mean, who doesn't know Seagate Technology? Kind of strange if you think about it that they would invest, but at the end of the day, these guys don't care too much about what they're investing into. If it's like fintech or I guess just unicorn potential, you know, just potential in general, I guess. These guys just want to make money. You've got Andreessen Horowitz in there. I'm not sure exactly where Google is in this list right now, but they're in there. Perhaps they're acting under a different name. I don't quite remember. On a little side note, for the people that are looking at Ripple or the XRP ledger and they're looking at advancements and things like that, do you know there's so much out there you can really find if you look for it? I mean, some people sometimes ask me, hey, Dusty, is this person still working for Ripple? Yada, yada. even though these things don't update that often. I mean, you could take a look here at the Ripple executive team. You might have to pay to be able to access everything on here. Maybe you can actually request a free trial though. But it's just an example of how many things you can find, right? Better list of all the 72 investors, a lot of the acquisitions that they've made. Anyway, it's a little bit contrarian to what I just said, where I said, hey, don't focus too much on Ripple and the parts there. Focus a little bit more on the XP Ledger. I was just saying that from the perspective of there's so much out there that you can find if you know where to look and if you really look properly. Fun other thing, for example, is Ripple competitors. It's interesting to see who they state are competitors to Ripple, when in reality, sometimes we might think of them completely differently, right? Or, hey, what type of patent is up and coming, for example, that went for recently? Well, here it shows the most recent one, I believe, is all the way back in 2019, or is this the oldest one? To get back to my original point, King Solomon said something. He said, I'll say this again for the last damn time. Stop thinking about Ripple. Start thinking about XRP. If the network itself doesn't gain adoption outside of Ripple, it'll be an insignificant piece in human history for multiple reasons. Ripple has no incentive to make you rich. And then Panos has a little response that, indeed, stop focusing on Ripple. Start focusing on the XP Ledger and the hundreds of projects and builders building interesting and useful apps for all types of use cases. Biggest adoption, activity, and value appreciation will come from individuals and the masses using the Xrpl Ledger-based apps. Again, he's naming some builders that are coming up. And the thing that I always like to state about this is we're, a lot of us, saying to not focus only on Ripple. That doesn't mean Ripple won't play a big part in the XRP Ledger and XRP's expansion and ultimate, I'd say, takeover of things. The only problem is, we all know the demand is there, right? Here's, for example, a video from a little while ago. Massive amount of demand, multi-trillion-dollar problem that XRP has been solving. Or like David Schwartz said a while back, XRP can't be dirt cheap. That doesn't make any sense. If XRP costs $1 or something, they need 1 million XRP, which would cost $1 million. If XRP costs $1 million, though, they don't need 1 XRP, which would again cost $1 million. That would be a lot easier. And somebody said he once mentioned that he regrets saying this because Ripple was sued by the SEC, so it wasn't smart for them to say that. David says, well, that was 6 years ago and it's still cheap. Point being, well, there's actually a couple of different points. One is this astronomical change doesn't happen overnight. I'd say that the XP price would have been at such a different point if they did not get sued because they had such a big market advantage. But that's another point number two, that a lot of the change is not only going to come from Ripple. I know Ripple knows the best out of everybody that a lot of the XRP price could be decided by some of the partnerships that they bring to the table. But ultimately, it's not only about Ripple. Many people seem to think that, right? Within the community right now. And I know in the lawsuit it says, well, no purchaser of XRP necessarily knew about Ripple, which I still think is true. I still think a lot of people, for example, nobody that I ever bought crypto for knew what Ripple was. A lot of them are just buying XRP for the sake of it, or because they understand it's a little bit cheaper or quote unquote better for transacting or things like that. But if we're being completely open and honest, and we're looking at XRP and the XRP Ledger, Ripple could do a lot for it because they're one of the major holders of it. So again, talking about incentive to make XRP do good, Ripple has a lot because they've got a lot. It's that simple. Are they the only ones? No. Right? And I still think there could be a lot that's going to be built. Right now, I think we talked about it like a week or two ago about all the changes and the new apps that could be coming to the XRP Ledger and all the different parties that are doing things for it. I'd say all I try to get you away, all I try to give you, I guess, with this video, all the type of, wait a minute, what's this? Harry Potter, Obama, Pac-Man, Inu, XRP? What are people doing? What's this? Wait, it's XRP 8, huh? What is this? Wait a minute. What are they doing? That is really funny. They're taking the ticker XRP, huh? Anyway, takeaway from the video is, don't think everything has to happen overnight, all right? I've got some videos lined up that I didn't even release, talking about the best wallets, and one is talking more so about how to prepare yourself for the bigger bull market, how to set yourself up, what type of coins to buy, or how to look into it. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do hope I can aid you in helping you look for the best way to get the proper resources. For example, it's always nice if I explain to people which websites to use to take a look at, full rankings of cryptocurrencies, or which exchanges to that I guess look at that might be quote unquote safe. Every exchange is kind of unsafe, but or which wallets I'd personally go for that I personally use, all that type of stuff. Even though I'm not your financial advisor and you shouldn't take the official advice from me, I think it might help leading you towards the right resource because you have a point to start. The way I see it is, the moment I've said some names, you can always go ahead and do some research and see whether or not you like the specific crypto, specific exchange, specific wallet, etc. But at least you've got some place to start and you know where to look it up from, kind of what to weigh off against one another, etc. Anyway, something else that was quite interesting, Sam Bankman-Fried allowed to meet his counsel outside of prison for a limited time. The meeting could take place in the Marshall's cell block attorney room, as Sam Bankman-Fried could bring a laptop and a Wi-Fi device. When this news came out, a lot of people were very amazed, right? Eleanor Terrett from Fox said Judge Kaplan has granted Sam Bankman-Fried approval to meet with his lawyers from around 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. tomorrow on the day, which again is today, on the day of his arraignment for the superseding indictment. His lawyers are allowed to bring one internet-enabled laptop and one Wi-Fi device to the meeting. And some people are kind of explaining it like, why would you ever give him internet? Like, I mean, for, again, an alleged internet behemoth fraudster of so many billions of dollars. Why give him internet exactly? I mean, like, what's the point? Like, why or how would that be a good idea? Oh, well, he might need to. No, he doesn't. There's no need to bring any internet or laptop with internet access to that meeting. There's no point. On the contrary, I mean, at the end of the day, and I know this to be true as well, if he has access to call, right, and he can call people, he still could get things done. If he's allowed to go meet, he still could write things down and give it over, for example, where other people could execute it for him. I understand. He could still tell his lawyers to do something, and perhaps they're so loyal that they would, so might not change too much, but it's an interesting idea as to why. And something else that was interesting, because I keep kind of going on, Crypto Law just said, hey, reply from Gemini in support of its motion to dismiss the SEC complaint against it. In its reply, Gemini cites the Torres decision in the SEC v. Ripple to remind the court of long-settled law that a Howey analysis applies to the totality of circumstances surrounding the offers and sales of the underlying assets. To which Mark Cuban said someone needs to remind the SEC that Reeves exists because Howey doesn't apply to all sales. There was a need for a new test just as there is now for crypto. Because John's point here was that, well, even though there's right now a verdict in the Ripple case, etc., the SEC seems to learn nothing from whenever something happens. They keep changing their mind whenever they want to. They're never consistent twice, so to speak. They're never consistent. And it just seems they just want to have fun in a negative way for all the investors and people they're supposed to protect. But hey, that's it for right now. There's also no decision in the Grayscale case today, if you wanted to know. That was also a little bit piece of news that people were interested in. Also, our Chinese man, let's not name names, just landed in South Africa, I believe. That could be interesting for the world economics, with the BRICS. So pay close attention to that. And that's about it for right now. Yeah, I think I've talked about everything that's trendy. So I will see you guys later. I'm just checking everything. Yeah, I'll see you guys later in another crypto video, hopefully tomorrow or whenever I got something new for you to share.